A few days ago, I got this comment essentially asking how I deal with burnout, because I get it. Sometimes life gets in the way. Maybe you got a new job that's distracting you. Maybe you got kids. Maybe you got this family that you got to take care of. Maybe you got to save the world. Anything can be stopping you from being creative. And so creative burnout is something that just happens to everybody at some point. I've been releasing a song every month on the 25th for the past 2 years. Only ever missed 1 month. We won't talk about that though. And I obviously go through creative burnout quite often. So after I have been releasing music consistently for 2 years and constantly making music that I'm proud of to release, how do I actually deal with this creative burnout, and what are some things that I do to make the whole creative process more enjoyable? Now, to be honest, this is a pretty tricky video to make, because when it comes to burnout, this stuff is all psychological, as to where I can make a video talking about mixing and mastering, tell you that if you put a EQ and you take out some of the mids on your vocals, you can make it sound cleaner. That stuff is technical, and it's really easy to make videos about that stuff, but this is all a mindset, psychological type of thing that it's a little more difficult to make concrete videos about. And so when it comes to this video, I want you to keep in mind that these are things that just help me out, and this might work for you, this might not work for you, but it's all a process and understanding what is best for you and the way that you make your music. What's up, geniuses? My name is Adrian Rivera, and welcome back to the channel where we learn to show you genius. Let's talk about how you can actually get over that creative burnout. It is such a beautifully gloomy day here in the Chicagoland suburbs. You know, I know a lot of people hate rain, storms, and like gloomy weather, but I gotta be honest, after the rain, just sitting here in the garden, it's really nice. And while rain is definitely not on most people's agendas, it's definitely on mine. Speaking of agenda, first thing that helps with creative burnout, at least for me, is having a schedule. Now, like I mentioned, I release a song every month on the 25th, and I've been doing this for 2 years, and because of that, that means there are deadlines that I actually have to meet with my music. Therefore, that actually forces me to block out time to create music. And when I am in my creative process, when I get into the zone, I know you guys know what I'm talking about, the zone. When you get into that zone where just things are going, you can't really stop, you're just going and going, you got all these ideas flowing, that's the zone. If I switch gears and go do something else and then try to get back into making music, it's really hard to get back into that zone again. Blocking out time in my schedule to really dedicate to making music, make sure that when I get into those moments of being in the zone, all I'm worrying about is making music, and so I can get my songs done a lot faster. And on top of that, creative burnout is not really much of an option, because I am just constantly in that zone. Now, that's not to say that I only make music when I block out time in my schedule. I believe that creativity strikes at any moment. And so if you are going about your day and all of a sudden you have this idea of a song or a lyric or something like that, jot it down. Don't let those moments pass. I definitely will have moments like that where I'll be on my guitar, just chilling in my house, just practicing guitar, and all of a sudden I get an idea for a chord progression or a song, or I make a song on the guitar on the spot right there when it's not my dedicated music time. Sometimes inspiration just strikes and you have to follow it, but it's a lot easier to follow that inspiration when you have time blocked out for it. A lot of us have busy lives, we have work, you might have plans with friends and things like that, and so sometimes inspiration strikes and you can't really act on it as much as you might want to. However, having blocked out time for those moments is going to help with the creative process as well. This is nice. I think this is beautiful out here, despite the gloominess. My second tip is to not feel like you're obligated to make good music. I know it gets really frustrating when you try to come up with an idea and it's just super cheesy. It sounds so bad. You're like, dang, nobody's gonna like this. You're completely allowed to have bad ideas. Just because you have a few bad moments in your music career in terms of creative processing, that doesn't make you a bad musician. I definitely think that ideas need to come out regardless if they're good or bad, because an idea is an idea. And if you feel like you don't like the idea that you came up with, there is no obligations to keep working on that idea. You can just pause right there and start a new one. However, if you do find that an idea has potential, but you just can't do something with it yet, you can still pause and come back at a later time. I can't tell you how many project files I have on my computer of just ideas that didn't go anywhere. Some were actually pretty good, some were pretty bad, and there's still some that I'm going to go back and work on because I know that there's something there. I just haven't finished them yet. However, there's a lot more that are just terrible and they're just sitting on my computer never to see the light of day. It is completely okay to have a few bad ideas, and to be honest, it's probably good. A good way to think about it is like a detox for your creative mind. Getting out all the bad ideas saves room for the good ones to finally come out out eventually. Don't be too hard on yourself if you feel like these ideas aren't sounding exactly how you want them to, or if these ideas are just not going anywhere. It's part of the creative process. Don't beat yourself up for it. And it's important to remember, music is supposed to be fun. Even if an idea is bad, it's still fun to make music. So don't get caught up in that. You're gonna be good. You're okay. It's okay. Just make music. It's fun. You know what else is fun? Gardening. Let me show you. My last and probably biggest piece of advice, quote unquote, for avoiding creative burnout, or even just like remedying it, that's the word, right? Yeah, is just have more hobbies. Music is one of my biggest passions. I love music. I can make music every single day, and I can see myself making music for the rest of my life and being a musician for the rest of my life. However, like I said, it's one of my biggest passions. I have so many other things that I'm passionate about. For example, gardening. I love gardening, and every summer I get out here and start growing my garden and just enjoy it. I also go to the gym almost every single day, and just recently I got an e-bike because I'm planning on commuting like everywhere that I go, like the gym or Starbucks or Panera, wherever I get my work done for these videos. I like to go on my laptop and go on adventures, so I got an e-bike to do that stuff. And I think I hardly ever experience creative burnout anymore because I just enjoy life a lot more than I used to. The problem with having music as your main hobby, or your only hobby I should say, is that when you go through these creative burnout periods, since it's the only thing you really have to ease yourself, when you're experiencing some struggle with music, it's harder to recover because you don't have anything else to occupy yourself with in the meantime. I think as musicians, we identify ourselves so much with our music. I know I used to say a lot of things like, life will be good once I make it, or I'll be happy once I reach X amount of goals, right? However, life is still happening right now. Just because those goals are in the future and I will reach those goals in the future doesn't mean I can't be enjoying my life as I am living it in the moment. The thing about building a business and being a musician is that no matter how many goals you hit, there will always be another one to achieve. Life isn't about your career. You weren't put on this planet to make money, and you weren't put on this planet to impress people with your achievements. You're alive because living is an experience and you are meant to enjoy it. So you should be enjoying it. Music is just one aspect of fulfillment in your life. And once you're able to turn to other things to fulfill you, you will find that inspiration for music again, and it will come a lot easier because you won't have to solely rely on this to bring you that fulfillment. Again, I'm not saying that I don't like making music. However, there are more things in life to enjoy. And I know that reaching those goals isn't going to make me happy at the end of the day. Being alive and experiencing what life has to offer will. Very philosophical, but I think that should be expected with this video. So, really quick, let's recap. Being outside has made my pants wet. That's really weird. I don't know why I said it like that. Quick recap. Have a schedule. Have good hobbies. No, have hobbies. Preferably good hobbies. I mean, yeah, have good hobbies. And don't feel obligated to make good music. Just make music. These 3 little tips should help you with your creative block. But again, these are things that just help me out. It's all psychological, and the way that I think is not the exact same way you think, but hopefully this steers you in some sort of direction to help you figure out what is best for you in helping with that creative block. If you want to know my step-by-step process on vocal mixing, I have my Vocal Genius vocal mixing course down in the description that you can check out, as well as my beat store, adrianrivera.com, for any of your music making needs. I do have another video right here that I made a few years ago if you want to check it out. That kind of covers this topic as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't be afraid to show your genius.